All right, jumping into the metaverse today, let's get into a project called Big Time. This is a project that we've reviewed here on the show before, and I think it's an interesting overall of how games are really kind of amplifying the way they're going to market. This is a very interesting project. We'll dive in deep. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to Metaverse Insider. Now, today's sponsor, of course, is Big Time. They asked us to come in, take a hard look at what they're doing with their new space round, but also kind of give a breakdown of how it all works. Because there's a lot of working parts here of how this game is going to interact with users, gameplay, etc. We're going to show you some gameplay today. We're going to show you some value propositions. And then at the end, we're going to also give away some stuff for you guys so you can go out there and maybe get active in the Big Time project. Now, if you are new to maybe crypto gaming in general, you're looking at different projects, you're taking a look at what kind of projects should I get into, what kind of game should I start playing, what I would reference is make sure and check our video, our previous video that we did on Big Time. It gives a lot more detail, kind of how they got going, what the overall project kind of consists of. One thing to be aware of is the Decentraland co-founder, his name is Ari Meirlich. He is one of the key leads and founders of Big Time. So when you look at kind of the project leads, this is something I do all the time, is when I look at whether or not I'm going to do something with a game, whether it's investing in the token or going into the ecosystem and buying NFTs and things of that nature, like with Big Time, I always want to see what the founders are doing, what their history is, a little bit about how they run roadmaps, because roadmaps are very critical around games and how they develop, because that essentially is kind of the lifeblood of a game system. But you've got game devs from AAA houses in this group with Big Time. You also have kind of a hybrid between Web 2 and Web 3. And what I mean by that is, and we've talked about this on the show at length before, is that Web 2 is the traditional gaming model that you know today, whether you're a mobile gamer or you're a console gamer, you understand how that works. But Web 3 is a new evolution in all of those things. And what I mean by that is, in most cases, where in traditional games today, at least today, the assets and things that you acquire in the game are just assets in that game. The potential and now the innovation that is really Web 3 and crypto gaming is the NFT side of things. And of course, the assets that you acquire in the game and or around the game now become worth money that you can buy, sell, trade, and eventually even take on to other marketplaces like you can with some of your assets with Big Time. That's the big issue between Web 2 and Web 3. The other thing that will start to transition, I think, with Web 2 and Web 3 is really kind of the whole aspect around onboarding, and this is something that we talk about here on the show a lot. Onboarding is really the one thing today that probably is holding blockchain gaming back from just absolutely exploding, because gamers want something that's simple and easy to gain access to, and gamer curious or crypto curious people that are looking at doing blockchain gaming or play to earn, play and earn, or just getting into a game on free to play and earning assets as you go, they want something, of course, that's really easy to do. The other thing is they have a tremendous asset management and custody solution, which really kind of brings the value of what they're trying to do kind of up to the forefront without losing much, having much risk, I should say. But we're going to get into some gameplay footage here, and I want to show you guys some of the key things around this. Remember, this is a free-to-play game. It's very easy to jump in. We'll show you all the process of how to join in. We're going to show you how to get into and understand what they're offering right now, which is a new space program. And space being, think of this as chunks of space in the game itself. And much like land in a sandbox, you need space to either build, be able to use and kind of craft new elements within the game itself. So let's go over and take a look quickly at the gameplay. So on the gameplay, what you're going to see first here, and I think this is something that, and this shows right here with Big Time, kind of the element, and that is this whole visual effects approach. This is a really well-designed game, and it is one of those things. There's the Chronomancer, which is one of the characters in it. This, of course, is their pre-alpha gameplay. Not final yet, just to, as they say there on screen. But the cool thing here to me is that you've got absolutely high quality graphics. You are seeing also kind of this transition right now between one world and another. That's another factor that I really like about Big Time. And this is, I think, is going to happen in a lot of games, but they're executing on it pretty well, at least on the gameplay footage so far, is that the transition from game to game is really going to be, I think, seamless. And that's something I think you'll have to have in place to really make an ecosystem really thrive, mainly because you're going to be able to gain new assets in different ecosystems, just like what you're seeing here on screen right now. You know, they're jumping into new worlds. And when you do that and have that opportunity, I think what that's going to open up is some, just like in any game, opportunities to start to gain new assets, start to build your digital asset files within Big Time as well. So of course you can do craft and or upgrade to items of higher value within the game itself. Now there is something that's kind of unique here, and this is this whole kind of this second generation of blockchain gaming. Their focus is it's not a play to or pay to play, and it's definitely not a pay to win. That's something that we are seeing kind of a lot of more game companies that are starting to go in this direction, with especially from the digital asset side, and even to a certain extent, if it's something like an Axie where you've got and you're building, you know, access to token value within your roster of your overall, you know, digital asset within the game itself. I think that is really the future of where blockchain gaming is going to go. So I think the fact that that Big Time is already moving that direction, I think, is a really cool thing. Now, players can also purchase cosmetic NFTs that are going to make your characters look cool. And these are going to be armor, weapon, all that kind of stuff. And I'll show you some of the things in the layout. These can be purchased with a credit card, even though right now what we are seeing with the onboarding side of things is credit cards have been disabled. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Let's go into the utility NFTs that make up the other side of the player economy that really kind of breaks down. This is boiling down to space. And space is something, along with their passes, because there's obviously the passes that you get for game levels, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But space is the exclusive ability to craft the equipment and also collect the in-game token. Users with access to space have exclusive ability to craft cosmetic NFTs, regular, and of course get to access all these things. With this, you're going to have also space sizes, which are large, medium, and small. The sockets live within each of those, so you can use that to build within that space itself. There are 600,000 spaces have different sizes, as we just kind of looked at. They all also have some elements within this that you can exchange for certain things, like Timekeeper requires 2 sockets, which helps you hunt for the Big Time token. Forges require 3 sockets that you can level up to NFTs to a higher rarity. And really, I think when you look at just the space side itself, when you look at Timekeepers, forges, etc., that's some of the key things that you need to be able to kind of function within the Big Time ecosystem. So lots happening with this overall. The Exalted Space sale is going to be happening in their Discord. So what you'll need to do, of course, is join the Discord to get the date for the announcement of this Exalted Space sale. But the cool thing is we are going to give away some stuff for you guys today. So the way that the passes work within the game itself, there's 3 levels right now. Well, actually there's 4 now with the giveaways, which we're going to talk about. But you've got the gold level, which of course is the insane. You've got silver at mega, jade at great. Now these, most likely, if you've already been involved in this, in the Big Time digital assets process, maybe you've picked up some of these assets, and I'll show you the value, what these are worth, etc. But the Ruby Pass is the one that we're going to be giving away. So the way this is going to work is remember, these are early access passes to be able to play the game. The Ruby level is the new portion of this. So make sure and use our link right here. You're going to see it on screen. We'll also put it in the description below. But you want to be able to use that because you've got to have that to get into the potential to win 5 of these random passes. What you see here is, of course, the NFT drop availability. Obviously, we've seen gold during week 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then mega, which is silver on weeks 5, 6, and 7. 8 and 9 is going to be the Jade Pass. And then week 10 is the Ruby. Now, this is the only way you can get a Ruby Pass, is through one of the influencers or networks that are doing these kinds of videos that are giving their audience access specifically to early access passes on the Ruby level. Now you'll notice, see that little blue square there on that Ruby definition where it says normal. What that is space. And I'm going to go over here just to give you guys kind of an idea of what this value could be. So this is where space is. So you've got obviously the exalted space. That's a $30,000 space right now. Then you've got legendary medium. You've got the rare large space. I've got one of those. But right here is rare small. This is the value that you could gain for that. Let me zoom up on that. From being able to just participate in this program. And of course, getting into the Discord is the key there to be able to get also the announcements for when space is going to be for sale. And then you can kind of see just all the different passes that are available here right now. The Jade Pass, $542, currently value $1,300, and then the Gold VIP Pass, $7,800. These, I think, are getting ready to raise in value. So if you own any of these, my recommendation is hold right now. Now, something that you have to remember when you're purchasing these, and there are some mechanical scenarios, and I think this happens with all games, that you have to kind of go through. And when I purchased my passes, one of the things, and I purchased them, and my value is actually less than what I purchased them for. But the point is that every time that there's a big rollout of the game, we start to see more and more players get involved, these values are going to start to go up. So in the past, they've done credit card onboarding. That is currently temporarily disabled. I'm not sure why they've done that. So that's something I think that needs to come back. I'm sure they're working to try to get to it. Might be all the way down to a merchant or a processor side of thing. Another thing to be aware of, if you do own passes right now, or maybe you own space, one way or the other, if you've got any of those digital assets and you sell them so that maybe you can do something on this new Exalted Space sale, is remember that it's going to take time to transact that. So don't anticipate, at least from what we've done on testing within the Big Time ecosystem, is that you're not getting your money immediately or your value so that you can reuse it for other purchases. So give yourself some time on doing that. If you are planning on getting involved in that and you've got some assets in there, I would start, it's kind of like putting dollars into USDC so you can get ready to purchase coins and tokens when they start to come down or when they're available. So that's kind of the way it works. The other thing that I want to jump into is there's a few questions that I have that I really want to kind of love to get you guys' input, because there's a lot here from the aspect of whether or not projects like this, when they roll out like this, and I think what Big Time has done, it's a good program. I think the strategy has been solid. Obviously the onboarding component, I think is one of the big key elements for me. For me, that has to be solved, and it has to be put on to where credit card can be an onboard. If they're going to use credit card, that's the key. Once you start using something, it's hard to take it away. So remember that is something that you guys need to be aware of. Another thing is how much money or time will it take to craft equipment and all these cosmetic NFTs. I'm just kind of curious of what that's going to actually look like within the game. Obviously, you don't want something that takes ridiculous amounts of time, but at the same time, you want something worthwhile to kind of move into that and make it, valuable. And then, are the VIP Space Pass benefits guaranteed to players for playing and or progressing? That'll be another question that would be interesting. And I think most of this will get worked out, especially as we see the economy continue to reveal more and more stuff with Big Time. Is there any limited supply of Space Pass benefits? Will we see things stacking on that in the future? The likelihood, my guess, is probably so. And then is this all too complicated? I'm kind of curious. Do you think blockchain gaming is too mechanical in the sense of the things that you have to do to be able to gain assets? I guess for me, I look at it like when I analyze a token. You have to do so many things when you analyze just a regular cryptocurrency token. You're looking at tokenomics, then you go trace down the team, you go look at their Discord, you might take a look at their social media. You're already doing all these things before you even invest in the project. And I think in a way, you're doing these things in a game, but you're having fun at the same time. So for me, I feel like this is probably going to be kind of a whole process. It becomes somewhat of a ritual to get into a blockchain game. And I think that has already happened in traditional gaming. There are certain rituals that you go through to, whether you get into and how you play a specific game. I think some of those kind of things are kind of the rites of passage, so to speak. So love to hear your comments and kind of your feedback on whether or not you think you're going to jump into blockchain gaming if you're new to it, or if you, on the big time side of things, are you going to get into space? Are you going to look at more digital asset acquisition? I'd love to see comments from you guys on how you're breaking down your asset, breakout, meaning how much in cryptocurrency or traditional altcoins, how much in blue chip, how much in high risk, how much in gaming. What are you guys doing? We'd love to get your feedback out there as much as you can. Drop some comments below. And of course, if you're listening in over on the podcast right now, just tune in over here to the YouTube channel, because this is where you're going to get all the cool stuff in terms of giveaways, a lot of the gameplay footage that we're doing here on this show, so much more. And of course, if you want to reach me, it's out on Twitter, @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on Metaverse Insider.